Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.
Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me. What's up, wackians? It's your boy, the Honorable OCT Octavius Hay, and I came to talk whack today. So you already know what it is. Read the title. It's probably the biggest news that we have. Joe Biden is canceling student loan debt, and he's canceling $10,000. Not completely. He's canceling $10,000, and he's also going to be canceling $20,000 if you took out a Pell Grant. He said he wants to cut it down to the interest rates down to where you're only going to be paying 5% of your income instead of what I think the average is 10%. And he's also doing some things with capping how long you have to pay. I think it's like 20 years for university, 10 years for community college, or something like that. Basically, sounds good, right? Here's the thing. My opinion, it's not enough. Not enough at all. I personally don't believe that there should be any student loan debt. I don't think that you should have to pay to further your education. We don't have to pay any at all throughout our 12 year. The grades that we go through? Is it 12 years, 12 grades, whatever. Any other time that we're in school we're in high school, we don't have to pay. You can go to private school, but there's a public option, right? So why isn't it the same thing with college? It's just continuing education. A lot of jobs need that. Why is it that we put this financial burden on people before they even go out into the workforce and get a job? Why is that something that we're engaged in? It's hard for you to get a home because of if you have this debt on your name. It's hard for you to start a business. You have this debt on your name, and it's just something that we continue. And college is rising high. The price to go to college is rising high, and it's hurting people. It's hurting, it's hurting millennials. It's hurting Gen Zers. It's hurting all of us, and it's become such a huge problem. I just don't see the value in continuing on with this module when we can afford to put people through college, send people get further education. We do it all the time with every other grade level. For some reason, people think you have to pay for college. A college degree means the same thing that a high school diploma used to mean back in the day, and we never charged for high school. So, college was cheaper. Some people went to college for free. So for me, $10,000 just doesn't cut it. I think it's a statistic out there that says that the NAACP is really mad at Biden for this. It says that the average debt for a white person is $12,000, whereas the average debt for a black person is about $50,000, maybe $50,000 to $60,000. So this is pretty much a response to white people in debt. Black people in debt. It may not affect them as much, and a lot of that is because black people tend to be on majority of us tend to be on the poor end, even though we're still trying to send them to college, whereas white families there may be a middle class family that doesn't need to take out as much of a loan, so they don't have as much to pay back. But this is bare minimum Biden, and hey, I'm happy he's doing it. It's something. It's better than what I thought he was going to do. But I'm just like, it's not enough. It's really not enough. He should have canceled it all. At the very least, $50,000. I mean, even corrupt Chuck Schumer was asking for $50,000, of student loan debt to be canceled. Biden, he just hard pressed on that $10,000. Now, he did honor his campaign promise. $10,000 was his campaign promise. But I was hoping that because this was an executive order, he couldn't hide behind Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema, that he would find it in him to help us out, help people out, and cancel at least $50,000, maybe more. But he's not. He's true neoliberal, and he's going to stick with the businesses while trying to virtue signal the bare minimum and pretend it's an historic change. Unfortunately, we're going to be back in the same boat in about, I think, statistics say, or studies say, about 4 years, the next generation to come through, and they're gonna that debt's gonna accumulate right back. So we're not really, again, nothing, no substance, no formidable change that actually will benefit for decades. It's all small, in the moment, limited time frame, for you to get these benefits. And media likes to pretend like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is going to affect all, they try to make it bigger than what it is. And of course, he's means testing it as well. So now you got to go through a process to even get your loan for your loan debt forgiven, because they have to make sure that you make less than $125,000. Whereas if you just did it all across the board, nobody would have to do anything. And yes, there may be some rich people who, got some of their loan forgiven. But honestly, if they were rich, how much of a loan did they really have left? If their family grew up rich, they most likely didn't take out a student loan. Their family just paid for their college. And if they were from a poor family and went to college and got more money, then I'm pretty sure they probably paid a lot of that down, or at least could pay it down. And on top of that, I don't think that we should have student loan debt no matter where you're at financially. So who cares? We bail out businesses all day long. We bailed out Wall Street. We gave trillions of dollars to corporations during the pandemic with no strings attached. And we gave $55 billion to the airlines, and they went and we told them they weren't supposed to fire anybody. They went and convinced a bunch of pilots to do early retirement, and now people are screwed out of their flights. So if we can do that, we can keep raising how much we spend on military budget, even raising past what the recommendation is, then we can go ahead and invest in everyday Americans. And it's really pissed me off, this argument of it's not fair to other people. It's not fair that people had student loans and had to pay them off, and there was no aid for them, and now all these other people are going to get aid. Well, then let's do everything then. Let's do that with everything. It's not fair that there are child labor laws, because there were some people who had to grow up without child labor laws and were mistreated. It's not fair that women can vote, because there were some women who weren't able to vote, and they grew up their whole life not able to vote. It's not fair that women are getting equal opportunities or better opportunities in the workplace, because some women grew up in a time where they didn't have those opportunities to get certain jobs. It's not fair that there's no slaves. All black people need to go back to being slaves, because there were people who were born into slavery, died in slavery, and never knew freedom. This doesn't make any sense. That argument makes no sense. I understand that, there are some people who would have loved to get the benefit of this, but they paid their student loans off, and that's great. But just because there are some people who had to go through the grind and the struggle does not mean that we do not correct it. There are some black people who couldn't vote, so no black people should vote, right? No, we've corrected it, and unfortunately that bad time happened, but we learn from that and we make sure it does not happen again. And that's the key. We have to make sure this doesn't happen again. So that argument of just because I didn't get it, you can't get it, then we have to apply that to everything. So if we find any cures for any diseases, well, we can't find any cures for any diseases because there's somebody who died from it, and that's not fair to them, right? Come on, man. Humanity is about growing, evolving, learning, and changing and doing better. And yes, of course, there are going to be times where certain things happen that, hey, sucks. It does. There are people who couldn't even go into the same restaurant as a white man. Does that mean that we have to keep segregation forever? No, that's crazy. And this system is crazy. You're not even guaranteed a good job, but you have to pay all this money back regardless. Come on, man. So, like I said, it's bare minimum Biden. Bare minimum is better than nothing. And I'm at least happy for the people that this does help a lot. The people who is either going to be split in half or a nice amount, a chunk of the loans going to be taken out. And for the people who this gets rid of the rest of your loans, I'm happy for you. And, it sucks that it's means tested, but it is something. It is his campaign promise. And, at least it's something for everyday average American. Yeah. Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me. Yeah. Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.